Brockman, and it was U.S. Navy, Petty Officer 3rd Class, and pick up my seagoing assignment, which was on a LSD. The LSD had just returned from a world cruise. It had been all over Europe, and it was in the dry dock in Boston for repair. So I had to wait for it to be renovated, and that was probably about a month. So I had shore duty for that month, and I got familiar with Boston and the different places, libraries and historical places in Boston. When I went aboard the ship, I don't know why, but they had assigned me to the captain's office to do the personnel and newspapers and daily kind of communications that the captain would put out. So that was basically my assignment on the ship. The ship itself, and we do refer to it as a ship rather than a boat. There's a naval difference. There's always the non-judicial part that says a boat is something that can be put aboard a ship, but a ship can't be put aboard a boat. So we were called ships as opposed to boats. The LSD was unique. It was a landing ship dock, and you saw something that was familiar with that recently, but the landing ship dock was about, I think it was about 400 feet in length, and it had a fairly flat bottom, so that it rode the waves very, very rough. It didn't have a stabilizer like most ships would have. They had quite a big stabilizer that would go underneath the water and kind of serve as a deterrent to the wind and the waves, things like that. So it was a rough riding ship. The basic purpose of it was not to fight. The basic purpose of this LSD was to transport Marines and soldiers and landing craft. As probably you've seen in the different movies, the landing craft would come out and go on shore with troops in it, and then the front would fold down and the troops would come out onto the beach. You've seen those, I'm sure. I can't quite remember how many of those we carried, but the stern would drop down, the hollow part of the ship would flood, and then these landing craft would rise in the water and go right out through the stern. We also could carry tanks and other mechanical, mechanized vehicles. One of the places we went to was Thule, Greenland, Thule. Thule, Greenland was building an air base, a defensive air base, and at that time we would transport Marines and Army personnel up there to do the construction, actually. I believe Thule Air Base is still there. While we were there, we went to different places, Nova Scotia, so the Bay of Fundy. The Bay of Fundy is kind of an interesting place. It has a tide that has, do you know about the Bay of Fundy? It has a tide that has 40 feet. That tide can raise in a day. And as we sailed into these bays and different harbors, we would be in the middle of two huge I'll call them mountain ranges. I don't know the geography enough to know what they were referred to up there, but it was quite an interesting experience up there. Was never really cold because we couldn't go there in the winter when it was cold, so it was much as it would be here today, or as the weather's been for the last week or so here. It wasn't bad. When the engineers and the Army personnel went ashore to do their work, we would stay on the ship, but they would allow us to be transported to a piece of earth that we could get off the ship for a while and just kind of sit around and chat. Nothing exciting went on at all. It was just another day's work waiting for the Marines and the engineers to finish their job. They were the ones that were doing the work, really.